duckweed. It's like the bane of my existence. So I just released a video and about how I've been kind of MIA, and I picked up a bunch of Oase, if that's how you pronounce it. I've heard different people pronounce it different ways, but I'm gonna just go with Oase. I picked up a Biomaster 350, which is on my 75-gallon tank. I set that up last night. The only thing I changed on that filter is I removed its plastic biomedia and replace it with skim matrix, which is kind of like a, I don't know really what it is technically, but it reminds me of like a lava rock. It's very porous and lightweight. Anyways, that's running, and I'm now in the office, and I have my 55-gallon acrylic tank set up here, and this is the brilliant bristlenose plecos that I've been breeding for the last couple years now. It's been kind of a love-hate tank. It's a very dirty tank, if you will. It's not what I would call a display tank, but I have to keep it dirty, if this makes sense, for them to breed. When I was keeping it like immaculate condition, so if I was streaming, I'd have that in the background so it looked nice. They weren't breeding. But as soon as I kind of let the tank do its thing, I still do water changes, but I don't scrub the glass or acrylic. I don't do anything with the substrate. I don't even clean out the Amazon swords. As it gets new growth, the old growth kind of dies off. I leave those leaves in there, and it just, I don't know if the plecos are eating on those leaves or if it's just the snails or what, but that was the key to getting these guys to breed, was just don't mess with the tank. Let it naturally take care of itself, and it's been working great. The downside is I have duckweed, and it drives me crazy. And as you saw in that little intro, it covers the top surface. Normally, it wouldn't be a huge deal because duckweed does remove nitrates from the water. It's part of the ecosystem, if you will, of the tank. But the problem is it gets so thick that it blocks the light down to the plants, and I think that's another reason why the Amazon swords kind of are struggling right now, because normally they grow gangbusters. And since I started making sure I clean off the surface of the water, I can definitely see new growth popping up. So I want to get the duckweed out of this tank, and it's one of those things where I always seem like I skim it off with the net, and weeks later it's just back, and it's like kind of one of those like overnight things. And what I'm doing today is I'm going to try the Oase Crystalskim to see if I can get rid of the duckweed once and for all. So first step is I got a bucket and a net, and I'm going to try to get as much duckweed out of the tank as possible, just using the net. So I'm going to spend a few minutes and get to scooping. Like a litter box, I guess. Yeah, let's do it. All right, I'm not going to go like full in depth on this. It's not really going to be like a product review. It's kind of just a product using video. So this just suction cups to your tank. This is the 350, which is for liters. I believe that's just the flow rate of it. They do have a 600. This is the size I'd recommend for really like a 10-gallon tank, 20, 29, things like that. I don't have the 600, so I don't know how much physically bigger it is than this guy, but this is a pretty good size for my tanks. I think the 75-gallon could use a bigger one if I had a lot of debris, but I think once the tanks are fairly clean, this will do a good job of just maintaining it. But what we got here on the top is you set this in your water level, and then you got this float. Okay, so this goes up and down with your water level. So what we want to do is set this to where this is floating at the top of your water level, and then as your water level naturally decreases as it evaporates, it goes down. You have a few different setup options, and I'm not an expert with this. I literally just set up the other one on the 75 yesterday, but what I can tell is you have a little sponge filter in here, and that catches the debris. It's not going to catch anything super fine. So in the other tank, I had some debris off the skim matrix, like a powder, and it would just blow through there. I guess you could probably put a little bit of polyfill in there, or cut a little piece of filter media and make it a little bit finer, but this is so it can filter out bigger debris. You can put this little guy on here. This is to keep fish from getting stuck in there, right? And then on this, you can take this clear part off. So that's like the most minimum stuff to go in there, if that makes sense. So you got these little slits, or you can take that off. Let's see if I can do this one-handed, which I probably can't. You take that off, and you can run it just open top like this. That's going to get like the most material, if you will. And then like I said, this floats up and down, so that just sits there. I only have one guppy in this tank, so I'm not really worried about fish getting like sucked into here. Plus, when I had this on the 75, it's not like the water's really pouring over this a lot. So what I'm going to do is take the strainer off, so that way the duckweed gets stuck down in the filter as best as possible. There's still quite a bit of duckweed. I think this is going to plug up fairly quickly. So this might be like I need to empty this, you know, throughout the day. But my goal is to get to where I don't really see duckweed on the surface anymore, and just leave this running, so that way if you get any little, because like the smallest little particle of duckweed will spawn more. So I don't know if I'll be able to get this on video. I know the tank looks terrible, but like I said, this is how the plecos breed. There's like little, it's not focusing, there's little specks. Oh, I'm just focusing on my finger, sorry guys. There's little specks of white stuff. I think that is just like little, I don't know if you want to say duckweed seeds, if you will, but I found that if you have anything that's little and white floating through the tank when you have duckweed, it's probably something to do with duckweed seeds, or however it propagates. It doubles itself like every single day. To me, it seems like it quadruples every day. But anyways, we're going to get this put in the tank. It just suction cups to the side. We're going to set it. Right now, I just did a water exchange, so the water level is at the highest it will be, and I'm going to set this to that height. So let's get this in the tank. All right, I got it set. It's actually on the back of the tank, because that's just how where I needed to put it for the extension cord, or the power cord to reach an outlet. So I have it set at its maximum height. As soon as I turn that on, that float will kind of suck down, and let's go ahead and turn it on. Well, that's going to get clogged real quick. Look how fat that is. Oh my goodness. That's working way faster, but it looks like it's already filled up. So I'm going to have to sit here for a minute, but this crystal skim comes with little tweezers, so you can turn this off and use tweezers to pull out that sponge filter. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. It's already clogged, so like 20 seconds. Let's go ahead and clean it and redo it. Alright, so I unplugged it from the wall, and what's nice is that floats up and it kind of traps the duckweed in it. So what you can do is, or I'm going to try to do, is that suction cup is slotted, so I should be able to kind of really just pull on this cable and pull the whole unit up. And I'm going to try to get it out of the water to at least see how to do this efficiently for the first time. Alright, well, there was no really efficient way of doing it. I just kind of pulled it in, and the whole thing kind of got all messy, but it looks like there's quite a bit in there. So let's slide this top off. Yeah, that thing is plugged. So I'm definitely going to do this, I'm guessing another 4 times, and then that really should actually pull quite a bit off. I'm going to try to figure out how to do this one-handed. Alright, obviously this would be way easier not recording it, so this is going to be a fail, but you're supposed to take the tweezers that come with it, reach in there, grab the sponge filter and pull it out, and it pulls all the gunk with it. But you can see quite a bit of duckweed got in it. Honestly, what I'm going to do, because I think the easiest and quickest thing, is just for me to take this to the sink and rinse it, and get the duckweed out, and then just keep putting it back in. And we're going to see how long it takes. I don't think it's going to take long to clean this tank of duckweed. I know it looks like there's a lot, but compared to what was in this tank and that's in the bottom of the bucket, it's not a whole lot that's normally in there. So I feel like this will probably be emptying it, I don't know, 4 or so more times, but I'll keep track. So I've emptied it once, I'm gonna go rinse it and then put it back in, and then there's no point of dragging the video out too long about that. So we'll come back once the duckweed is under control. All right, so ignore everything I've said up to this point. I'm gonna edit this as I'm doing this, so you guys can see this is how I'm really, I guess, testing things. So pulling the whole unit out is not the way to go. So basically what you do is you just let this run until this, I'm going to call this the basket, gets full. And then all you do is you take the tweezers, you go in, grab the sponge filter on the bottom, and you pull straight up. And what happens is it becomes like a wastebasket. All that duckweed is stuck in the cup. I just walk to the sink and rinse this out. So I found I don't even turn it off. I just leave it running. As you see, it's far enough under the water level that I can't suck anything down. But I do separate the sponge. I grab it. I come in from the side, so that way I'm not grabbing a bunch of that duckweed. And basically I just slide over the top and push it back down in. Okay, it's still not creating suction without the basket, if you will. Then you just put the basket and drop it. And then it starts working again. I'm really happy on how well this is actually working. The tank, this is the third or fourth time I've emptied it. I'm going to let it run until it just physically can't suck anymore in. Because every time I think it's full, it still pulls in. So I'm going to let it run for, I don't know, 5 minutes or so, 10 minutes, and then empty it. But the tank's already looking way better as far as how much duckweed. Top of the tank's horrible. A lot of calcium buildup from the air stone is splashing water on top of the lights. This is a Phoenix Stingray and this is Flue Ball. This is waterproof. This one's not. Avoid having this come in contact with bubble mist because it'll burn out the LEDs, as I found out. It still works, so I keep it on there. But anyways, let's keep rolling. All right, guys, so it's actually been probably, I don't know, at least an hour since that last clip. The water is free pretty much of duckweed that's floating. There's some specks of duckweed that are stuck to like the acrylic, like that maybe like a little splash or something knocked it up. So as those come free, and like there's some on the intake pipe of the canister filters, but as those come free, the skimmer should catch it. The one thing I noticed that I'm catching the skimmer is the trumpet snails. So this tank's got a ton of Malaysian trumpet snails in the tank. And there's the little itty bitty babies, if you will. They basically float up to the top of the water level and then they get sucked in. They are being recycled, if you will. There's a billion of them in here, so I'm not too concerned with losing the little babies. Anyways, it's doing a really good job. The water quality is cleared up a lot. If you saw the little text, I'm actually editing the video and then I decided to record what I'm doing right now. But anyways, if you saw the little text that said that those bubbles, I realized the tank looks horrible on video. I hope it looks a little bit better. There is water spots and stuff. Honestly, I haven't cleaned the front of this in probably months. Months. But it just doesn't really bother me until I just realized it's on camera. I should clean it, but whatever. I hope maybe I can focus this. Focus. Nope, it's focusing my face. It likes my face more. There we go. Anyway, so you can see the water looks a lot better. The canister filter, I added the Oase Biomaster 250 to this tank before I filmed this, like right before I filmed it. So it had a bunch of micro bubbles like in the filter media and stuff. So that's what was showing up in the tank. Those have finally worked out, so the water is nice and clear. The problem is, and I don't know if you can see that right now. Focus. Can you see that? Move my finger right here. This like cloud almost. That's the Penplax filter, canister filter I'm replacing. It keeps sucking air and it shoots all these bubbles into the tank. And it's a mess. And that's the noise. So any noise you heard like this rattling noise, that's not the crystal skim. That's the Penplex filter, canister filter I'm replacing. So it's noisy and it's sucking air. So that's why I'm getting rid of it. Like I said in my last video I uploaded, it was a freebie. It was used. Came from Ohio Fish Rescue. I've had it for a couple years now, but it's just to the point where it's annoying the crap out of me. So it's getting replaced. I'm going to run it until this new Oase filter cycle. So it's going to be a few weeks. I'm going to let the new canister filter get some beneficial bacteria build up, and then I'll pull the old one out. But yeah, so the top of the water is looking great. I'm very impressed with this little guy. So one thing I would recommend, that if this is something that you might want to run on a display tank to keep biofilm off the surface, if you have like a rimless tank, that'd be huge. Or in my case, you want to keep duckweed at bay. One of the things I would recommend is making sure that it's easy to either unplug it or put it on a Wi-Fi switch, which what I will do is put it on a Wi-Fi switch. My 75-gallon tank setup, I have on a Wi-Fi switch, so when I go to feed the discus, I click a button on my phone and it turns off the pumps, and I just have the power strip plugged into a Wi-Fi switch. So that way my pump, my Oase Crystalskim and the canister filter aren't sucking up food, because as soon as you put food in this tank, if it floats, it's going to go into that skimmer. So you definitely want to turn it off if you go to feed. Kind of makes sense, I hope. And there is a freaking spider walking across the tank right now. Oh, shoot, where'd it go? It's on the top of the tank now. Ugh. Anyways, I hope this gives you an idea in case you have duckweed. I'm going to let this run on this tank for at least a few days, and I'm probably, the one in the 75, I don't really need it in the 75. The 75 doesn't have duckweed. I kind of just put it on that tank to keep like biofilm down, but it's really, the tank doesn't have really any kind of floating issue. So I think the 75-gallon tank, I will move that crystal skim out to the fish room, because those tanks, you know what? You guys haven't seen my tanks in a long time. Let's walk out there. So here's the 75. This is a day after I set up that Oase, and you can see there's the skimmer there. But you know, there's nothing in the top of the water, so it doesn't really need to stay on this tank. All right, so the lights are going off in here, but you can see this is a shrimp tank, but got a little bit of duckweed. I'm going to be curious how to test to make sure shrimp aren't going to get sucked in. I really don't see it being an issue, but these other tanks are just getting crazy. The water levels are low. The fish room's getting warm because of summer, and the tanks are evaporating quicker. But yeah, pretty much all the tanks have some sort of duckweed in them, and just it gets really annoying. See how it splashes up and then dries. It actually makes good snail food when it dries up, but anyways, the ponds are what I want to take care of, is this guy. So this was the plywood pond I built. There's a video on the channel about it. I still have it, still works fine. The only thing that's in here is shrimp. Not that you could tell. I don't even know if I'll be able to show you guys. I don't know if it's going to work. Yeah, this isn't going to work. Oh, right there. You see them? There's shrimp in here. You know, I can see a few. So anyways, there's a bunch of shrimp in this tank. Not that you would know. So my goal is like this one's going to be a little bit harder because the shrimp will get on the underside of the duckweed, and they'll graze on the bottom of it. I know a lot of people use duckweed for like chickens and stuff, but I don't know if I can. It's just so hard to see anything in this. But I can see, like, you see the shrimp right there? Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, I want to get the duckweed out of this. The main reason I bought these is for that tank. That has my blue neocaradinas in it, and the duckweed started off little, and now it's a full carpet. That's going to be a chore to clean. So stay tuned for, I guess, these projects. All right, if you guys made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. I know with my videos, you know, a lot of people are like quick and to the point. I end up talking a lot in my videos. On my other channel, that's a lot of comments I get on my it's like a mechanic channel. I fix cars, I melt aluminum. That's a thing that I released last couple of videos. I actually melt down aluminum and make ingots. So if that sounds interesting, check out my second channel, Beater Box Garage. Anyways, if you squirrel, I get comments on the channel saying I talk too much, and they just want to get right into it. Anyways, on this channel, I like talking. I talk a lot, guys. Sorry. But once again, if you made it this far and you're still listening to me, thank you so much. Hopefully I will see more of you guys here soon. Take care.